Pay very close attention to this next piece of footage. It's only 30 seconds long, but it contains an entire love story, and the reason that love story ended, sadly. On October 3rd, 2023, Sunset Hills, Ohio, the motion-activated security camera on the back of a quiet suburban house begins to record. The timestamp reads 7:08 p.m. An elderly man with silver hair sits in a wheelchair on a brick patio. He's looking toward the garden. A woman in light gray medical scrubs steps out from the house and walks toward him. She's 34 years old. She doesn't speak. Instead, she gently places a hand on his shoulder, leans down, and kisses him. Not on the cheek, but softly, fully on the lips. It lasts for 5 full seconds. His hand rises, his fingers brushing her arm. It is a moment of profound, quiet intimacy. Then she straightens up, moves behind the wheelchair, and guides him back inside. This is the last time anyone besides her killers would see Maya Peterson alive. 12 days later, October 15th, 9:13 a.m., an anonymous, distorted call comes into the Sunset Hills Police Department. A flat, robotic voice says only, "Old Industrial Park, Building 7, the West Unit. You'll find a body." The call disconnects. Police arrive at the long-abandoned warehouse complex. They pry open the rusted door to the specified unit. Inside, a small, windowless storage room locked from the outside, they find her, Maya Peterson, still in her gray scrubs dress. Her wrists bound with plastic zip ties, clear evidence of strangulation around her neck. Forensic analysis would later confirm she had been dead for nearly 12 days. The entire time the town had been plastered with her missing person flyers. But most would assume a tragic, random crime, but they would be wrong. This was a calculated execution. The motive wasn't violence for its own sake. It was cold, hard cash. $3.5 million to be exact. And a family who decided that a life was a fair price to pay to get it. Before we go in deep, let's rewind a little. 3 years earlier, September 5th, 2020, Robert Miller was driving home from his weekly chess game. A delivery truck runs a red light. The collision is catastrophic. Robert survives, but his spinal cord is severely damaged. He is paralyzed from the chest down, permanently confined to a wheelchair. Robert has a family, a son, David, 52, a daughter, Jennifer, 49, and a grandson, Ryan, 28. In the first weeks after the accident, they visit the hospital. They bring flowers, make promises, but as the reality of his permanent condition sets in, their visits become choreographed events, then rare inconveniences. By the 1-year anniversary of the accident, the visits have all but stopped. David came by twice, Jennifer once, Ryan never. Robert spends his 79th birthday alone in his silent house. Investigators would later find a note in his journal from that period. It read, "I became furniture the day I stopped walking. My value was apparently only in my signature on a check." December of that same year, desperate for consistent help, Robert hires a home health aide through a reputable service. The agency assigns him their most requested, highest-rated caregiver, Maya Peterson, 30 years old. The first in her family to go to college, she was in nursing school when her father suffered a severe stroke. Maya left her studies to care for him full-time until he passed. After that, she dedicated herself to becoming a certified aide, finding purpose and giving others the compassionate care she'd given her dad. On her first day, Robert is parked by the window, a blanket over his legs, his expression blank. He doesn't even look at her. Maya doesn't launch into a list of medical tasks. Instead, she asks a single, disarming question. "Mr. Robert, if you could eat anything in the world right now, what would it be?" He turns, startled by the question. It's been so long since anyone asked what he wanted. He answers, quietly, "My mother's beef stew, with the crusty bread." And Maya smiles. 2 days later, Maya arrives with a bag of groceries. She sets up a cutting board and ingredients on a lowered table so he can chop vegetables from his chair. They cook together. That night, as they eat, Robert Miller cries for the first time since the accident. This was the foundation. What followed was a gradual rebuilding of a man's soul. Maya learned he loved old blues music. She brought over a portable speaker and they listened to B.B. King during his physical therapy exercises. She found out he was a history buff and started checking out audiobooks from the library for them to listen to together. She took him to drive-in movies, to quiet cafes, treating him not as a patient but as a person. The light came back into his eyes. He laughed again. One afternoon in the summer of 2022, Robert asked her, "Why do you do all this for me? I'm just a job." Maya put down the book she was reading to him. "You're not a job, Robert. You're my friend, and friends look out for each other." In that moment, Robert felt something shift deep inside him, a feeling he thought had died with his wife years ago. He was falling in love. He buried the feeling, ashamed. He was 81, she was 32. It was unthinkable, but the heart doesn't obey logic. By early 2023, their connection was a quiet, radiant thing. Maya began to recognize the look in his eyes, not the gratitude of a patient, but the affection of a man. She fought her own feelings, but they were too strong. On August 20th, 2023, Robert could hold it in no longer. As she was preparing to leave, he took her hand. "Maya, I have fallen in love with you, not because you care for me, but because of your kindness, your spirit. I know how this sounds. I know I'm an old man, but I had to say it." Maya was silent. She left without a word. Robert felt his world crumble. But the next morning, she walked in, went straight to his chair, knelt down, and took both his hands. "I love you too, Robert. I don't care about the years between us. I care about you." From that day forward, they were a couple. They kept it a secret, a precious private world. They both knew his family would never, could never understand. That secret world shattered on January 10th, 2024. David Miller showed up unannounced for the first time in over half a year. Financial records show he'd been calling his broker days before, inquiring about early access to his future inheritance. He was in debt. What David saw when he walked in wasn't a caregiver attending to a client. He saw his father and Maya on the sofa, her head on his shoulder, their fingers intertwined. David erupted. "Dad, what is this? Is this some kind of sick joke? She's manipulating you." Robert's temper, long dormant, exploded. "Where were you when I was rotting in this chair? She is the only person who has shown me an ounce of love since your mother died. Get out of my house." David left, but the battle lines were drawn. That night, he called Jennifer and Ryan, an emergency family council. The next day, the three descended on Robert's home. They presented a united front of concern. They insisted Maya be fired, accused her of undue influence. Robert, heart pounding with a lifetime of disappointment, gave them his final verdict. "You abandoned me. You only returned when you smelled money. Get out and don't come back." They left, but the war had just begun. They hired a private investigator to dig up dirt on Maya. Nothing. They consulted a lawyer to have Robert declared mentally incompetent. The lawyer reviewed medical records and interviewed Robert, then delivered the bad news. He's sharp as a tack. His will is his own. Then they got a tip from the inside. On March 1st, 2024, Robert met with his estate attorney, Michael Green, to sign a new will. The changes were devastating to his family. David's share reduced to $150,000. Jennifer's share, also $150,000. Ryan's share, $50,000. The sole major beneficiary? Maya Peterson, $3.5 million. The house, all his remaining assets. And Robert, knowing his family's nature, added a killer's clause. If any beneficiary was convicted of a crime against Maya, their inheritance would be voided, given entirely to charity. It was legally ironclad, signed and witnessed on March 1st. What Robert didn't know was that his attorney's paralegal, Lisa Boyd, was Jennifer's sorority sister from college. On March 4th, Lisa made a panicked call to Jennifer. "Your father just cut you all out. The will is solid. A court challenge could take years." The family's panic turned to cold, calculated fury. That evening, in David's living room, they hatched their plan. Police would later recover their deleted text messages. "David, we can't let this happen. It's our money." Jennifer, "The will is solid. A court challenge could take years." Ryan, "So what's the alternative?" A long, heavy silence followed. David, if she isn't around when Dad passes, the gift to her fails. The money comes back to us. Jennifer, David, what are you saying? David, I'm saying we solve the problem permanently. Ryan, who had served in the army, said he knew a guy who knew a guy. That guy was Marcus Cole, ex-military with a dishonorable discharge and a violent record. Marcus brought in an associate, Leo Grant. The price was set $40,000, half up front, half upon completion. Bank records showed David made two $20,000 cash withdrawals on March 6th and March 8th. Marcus and Leo began their surveillance on March 9th. For 3 days, they watched Robert's house. They noted the time Maya arrived, the car she drove, the time she left. This was not a crime of passion. It was a clinical operation. March 14th, 2024, Maya's last shift before a planned vacation. Robert had a secret. He'd bought an engagement ring. He planned to propose that weekend. Maya had no idea she was being hunted. She arrived at 8 a.m. as usual. They made breakfast. It was a perfect, ordinary morning. The day passed softly. After dinner, as the sun began to set, Robert wanted some air. Let's sit on the patio for a minute, Maya. She smiled and wheeled him out. This is when the security camera activates. 7:08 p.m. Watch it again. See the ease between them, the natural way she touches his shoulder. That kiss, a kiss that spoke of private jokes and shared memories, and a love that had grown slowly and truly. For 5 seconds, the world was just the two of them. Then she wheeled him back inside. In few time, they vanished from the frame. This 34-second clip would later be played in a silent courtroom. The prosecutor would say, "This is not a caregiver. This is a fiancé. This is the why." Inside, Maya helped Robert get comfortable. "I have to run to the store, Robert. I'll see you tomorrow, okay?" He squeezed her hand. Tomorrow. It was a promise they would never keep. At 7:30 p.m., Maya left the house, got into her silver Toyota Corolla, and drove toward the local grocery store. Marcus and Leo, in a gray, unmarked panel van, were 3 streets over. Ryan, who was monitoring the house from a distance, sent a text to Marcus. "Silver Corolla just left with her license plate. She's yours." At 7:45 p.m., Maya pulled into the grocery store parking lot. She chose a spot near the rear, away from the crowd, as she often did. As she opened her trunk to get reusable bags, the gray van screeched to a halt behind her. It was over in less than 20 seconds. Leo, a large, powerful man, clamped a hand over her mouth and dragged her backward. Marcus zip-tied her wrists. They shoved her into the van's cargo hold. A store stalker heard a muffled cry and saw taillights speeding away. He thought it was a couple arguing. He didn't call the police. Maya's car sat abandoned, driver's door open, purse spilled on the pavement. It wasn't reported for over an hour. By then, it was far too late. The van drove to the derelict industrial park, to the unit owned by a shell company linked to David Miller's property holdings. They took her inside the cold, dark room, and here, investigators believe, Marcus did something particularly cruel. He told her why. He said the Miller family had paid them, that she was in the way of $3 million plus, that it was just business. Then they took her life. The anonymous tip 12 days later led police to her body. The investigation zeroed in quickly. The warehouse was tied to David. Phone records revealed the flurry of calls between the siblings and Ryan's contact with Marcus Cole. The cash withdrawals were the final piece. When confronted with the evidence, especially the text message with Maya's license plate sent from Ryan's phone, the family's facade crumbled. Ryan was the first to break. Facing a life sentence, he agreed to testify against his father and aunt in exchange for a chance at parole. He laid out the entire conspiracy in open court, the planning meeting, the hiring of the killers, the payoff in an arrest area off the highway. He confessed to knowing Maya was dead and going home to sleep soundly in his own bed. The jury took less than a day to convict all 5: David, Jennifer, Ryan, Marcus, and Leo. But the final bitter twist was yet to come. On the very day of the sentencing, November 18, 2024, Robert Miller passed away in his sleep. The official cause was heart failure, but his nurse believed he died of a broken heart. He had simply stopped wanting to live in a world without Maya. And the money? The $3.5 million? Because Maya died before Robert, her inheritance was void. But because David, Jennifer, and Ryan were convicted of crimes against her, the killer's clause was triggered. They received nothing, not a single cent. The entire estate was donated to charity, just as Robert had stipulated. They murdered an innocent woman for a fortune, and in the end, all they won was a life behind bars. This case should send a chill down the spine of anyone in the caregiving profession. Maya Peterson did everything right. She was exemplary. Her only mistake was showing unconditional kindness to a man who had been abandoned by his own blood. The red flags weren't in her behavior, they were in the families. The sudden aggressive interest, the unfounded accusations of manipulation, the hostility. If you were a caregiver and you encounter this, document everything. Every strange comment, every threat, every accusatory visit. Report it to your agency immediately. Create a paper trail. Trust your gut. If you feel unsafe, you probably are. Maya's last happy moment was captured in those 34 seconds of security footage. She had 13 minutes of normalcy left. She had no idea that just blocks away, two men in a van were waiting for a text message with her license plate number. How many other families view compassionate caregivers as threats to their future wealth? How many other Marcus Coles and Leo Grants are out there for hire? We'll never know. Most schemes are never this blatant. Most are never discovered. Maya and Robert found a late, beautiful love. It was stolen from them by greed, plain and simple. A greed so profound it believed a human life was a fair trade for a stack of cash. Remember her story. Be aware, be safe, and never underestimate what people are capable of when they believe something is owed to them. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more like this.